Hello, hello, beautiful, amazing, and fabulous women over 45. Well, this is a show that is dedicated to the radiant life for women over 45. With your host, Dr. Angelika Christie, that's me, and we, on this channel, we talk about everything that is important in the second part of your life. It is important throughout your life, but becomes even more important in the second part of your life. Your health, your fitness, your desires, what do you really want? What is your vision for a radiant life after 45? And so much more. And sometimes I have amazing guests that I have the pleasure of interviewing here as well. And all of it will help you to create your life to be more joyful, healthier, more radiant, right? There's no better with optimal health and loving relationships and and satisfaction and abundance, financial and in every way. All right, so today is a little bit different. It's a serious subject that I really must talk to you about. And it's really of utmost importance. And it's about reversing Alzheimer's disease or preventing it. We want to prevent it first, right? And then if we haven't started early enough, then if we are lucky and we are not too far gone, we may be able to reverse it. We will explore actually the groundbreaking work of Dr. Bredesen. I discovered him a couple of months ago and I studied his approach, and it is so it is so hopeful, and it is so scientific, and it makes so much sense. So it's a comprehensive approach to combat this debilitating condition called Alzheimer's disease. I will speak about what I have researched as well, and also what I have found in my own life and personal experience about it. But first of all, let us make clear what Alzheimer's disease is and the stages of this dreadful disease. So dementia and Alzheimer's are progressive conditions. That means they start, and some, of course, it always starts without us knowing. Isn't that the case for so many other things? It's silent first, and sometimes when we really get that wake-up call, it's already too late. So let me talk about these different stages, because dementia and Alzheimer's are progressive conditions, as I said, that impact our cognitive function and memory. But not only that, it impacts our entire life and how we function. While Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia, it is important to know that not all dementia cases are attributed to Alzheimer's. And that's a little bit complicated that I don't want to go in today. I want to keep it simple so that you get the most value out of it. But here are the stages that are commonly associated with both conditions and how they manifest in individuals. So stage 1 is called the preclinical or mild cognitive impairment. So in this stage, individuals may experience subtle changes in memory, in their thinking, and even in their behavior. They are just behaving a little differently. However, these changes are often not even noticeable to the person itself or not noticeable to their loved ones. Mild forgetfulness may occur, such as misplacing items or forgetting recent events. My goodness, yes, that has happened to me. So we may believe that this is just due to getting older, and it may be a normal part of aging. as I used to believe. But here is the cruel truth. It is not. In fact, the newest research shows that the first slips of memory and any changes, like in speed of mental capacity, are already the first stages of dementia. And that word sounds so horrific that we don't even want to think that this is possible for us, right? But we have to. This is a wake-up call. We must become aware. And those first stages, because we don't really see them, recognize them yet, they can be up to 20 years or more in the making, and can easily be caught and therefore prevented from developing. But of course, we mostly don't even know it. And we test for cancer, we test for all kinds of things, but we have not really started to test for cognitive decline or dementia. But anyway, so that was stage 2. Stage 3 is called mild cognitive impairment, MCI called. It is a transitional stage between what we think, what we still think is normal aging. But let me say again, that decline as we age is not normal when it comes, not normal when it comes to the brain. The brain does not really age necessarily. Our bodies, yes. Our skin, yes. But anyway, I don't want to go too much into this. I just want to keep it tied to what I want to share with you because it's so important. So it is, so you see, it is very important to prevent any decline which shows up as symptoms that become more noticeable. That may include increased forgetfulness, even difficulty recalling recent events or conversations, challenges with finding the right words or expressing thoughts, difficulty with complex tasks, such as managing finances or planning anything. And sometimes you notice that at a certain stage, it becomes more, you get more frustrated, or it's not as easy anymore, or you just don't want to go there, you get distracted. There are all kinds of signs that we don't really recognize as alarming signs. So anyway, this third stage, which is called mild dementia or early stage Alzheimer's, as dementia progresses, symptoms become more evident, and then they start to affect your daily life in a much bigger way. Common signs, of course, include memory lapses, especially regarding recent events. So it's kind of short-term memory, or any new information, your capability, your capacity to learn, all of a sudden you want to remember something, a phrase or a sentence or a paragraph, and that you think you should really remember it, you just read it, but it's gone. So difficulty with problem solving and organizing stuff, confusion about time and place, like when was that, or somebody asked you, what did you eat yesterday for lunch? And you have a total blank, you cannot recall. Or challenges with word retrieval, or even following conversations. All of a sudden it feels as if you're not really following the conversations anymore. It becomes a little overwhelming. Then mood and personality changes, such as increased irritability and withdrawal. And of course, that comes from maybe noticing these changes, and you don't really know what to do with it because you don't recognize your normal self quite anymore. It's a big wake-up call. But then if you don't do anything, the next stage is moderate dementia. And you cannot stop it if you don't do anything about it, okay? it will progress, not at the same speed with everybody, but it is a progressive disease. So moderate dementia or middle stage Alzheimer's, at that stage, individuals require more assistance, even with daily activities. Like symptoms include that your memory gets worse and worse. Your memory loss includes even forgetting personal details. Like maybe you don't, somebody asks you, so what is your address, your living address? And you have to stop and you have to think, and it takes a while to retrieve it. Or maybe it's just you have a blank, or your telephone number or your account number. No, telephone number is usually maybe comes quicker, but if you used to know your account number and you don't recall it anymore, that's a sign. So also difficulties with basic tasks such as dressing, personal hygiene. That's when it becomes really sad, because significant confusion and disorientation, even in familiar surroundings, start to happen. Personality and behavioral changes, including agitation and aggression. And my goodness, I so much understand this. If you have to live with this brain that has all of these, that does not have the synapses functioning properly anymore. It's not you, it's your brain where the functioning has stopped happening in the normal way. Then comes sleep disturbances and the tendency to wander around aimlessly, maybe stare, and you don't remember what you wanted to do or why you went into the room. Of course, that happens when you are younger too. You go in the room and they say, what was it that we wanted here? But it will become stronger. You will go there and you have no idea what you wanted to do. So let's just finish this because I want to go into something else. Stage 5. That's severe dementia at the late stage of Alzheimer's. In this stage, individuals experience significant cognitive decline. And at that stage, they require substantial assistance. And those symptoms include severe memory loss, with individuals often unable to recognize family members. And I know you heard that. That's the part that we so often hear when people talk about dementia, or Alzheimer's, or he or she does not know anymore who their spouse is, or their child, or, even if it's an adult child, or, these things become very, very significantly disturbing. The inability to perform activities of daily living that you used to do independently, such as eating or taking care of your hygiene, going to the bathroom, going into the shower, bathing yourself. All of a sudden, these things become terrifying. You can't even imagine that. But this is what happens in later stages. Communication difficulties, because then these people, or that if that happens to me, then I cannot even communicate what I really want, including that my speech may be impaired, that I will be unable to express what I need, what I want, or of course, I wouldn't be able to follow a conversation. So increased vulnerability to infections is kind of the last stage where the physical body actually starts to shut down. Difficulties with swallowing, difficulties with mobility, and all kinds of challenges. So, and then is kind of the end stage, the last stage, the severe dementia and end stage Alzheimer's. And that's when people die, And before people die, individuals require this round-the-clock care. You don't recognize family members anymore or nothing anymore. Minimal ability to communicate verbally, complete dependency on caregivers for all and every daily need. The decline in physical ability, including even swallowing, increased susceptibility to infections and all other medical complications. You see, that's when it's really the end, right? But nobody really speaks about it unless you search for it, unless you have a specific desire to learn more about it. So it's important to note that the progression of dementia and Alzheimer's disease can vary from each individual. And the stages provide kind of a general framework to understand the typical course of the conditions. It is advisable to consult with professionals and actually seek out the best professional specialist you can find, best in your area. If not, then go online, and it's worth traveling to for the proper diagnosis and personalized care plan. You see here and read so much more about dementia today, these days, than it was even shared in the past. And while the main focus when it comes to disease and what can kill you, me and you, and the population, is still mostly on cardiovascular disease, heart disease, cancer. Alzheimer's disease is skyrocketing with no medical treatment. That is, with no successful medical treatment yet. Yes, there are medications out there, but they barely make a difference. And while there are treatments and cures for cardiovascular disease and cancer, well, cancer still has a lot to catch up to as well. There is no cure yet for Alzheimer's. There's only prevention, and when detected early, a possible reversal. So the issue with early detection is that when you already have mild cognitive decline, it may already be too late because the disease has already been developing for maybe more than 10 years in your brain without you even noticing or without striking your concern or your attention enough to get diagnosed. After all, memory lapses, thinking slower, forgetfulness, not finding the right words, and so on, have been always categorized as normal signs of aging. But now you know that this is not the truth. I'm sorry if I scared you, but this is so important, and it's also very personal to me. I actually never thought about dementia even a year ago, dementia nor Alzheimer's, because I did not know anybody personally with this disease. Well, nobody in my family had it until about 6 to 8 months ago. I heard from my brother, who visits my older sister twice a year. He alarmed me that my sister, is losing her short-term memory and also changing her personality to becoming more confrontational, and she has car accidents, and she can't find things anymore, and she gets agitated. I'm only 2 years younger than my sister, and I too notice a slowing of my thinking, slowing of my comprehension. At least it's much slower than it was 10 years ago. And also slowing down of my daily activities. So I am a naturopathic doctor. And because I am all about prevention, right? I got deeply into research by the top scientists and brain specialists. And that's how I found Dr. Bredesen, Bredesen, and many others. who are at the top and front line of brain research, longevity, and specifically what Alzheimer's disease is, how it develops, and how it can be prevented and even reversed if you don't let it go too far. But here is the hard truth. Alzheimer's disease is showing up more and more in younger people too. Why? I have my thoughts about this. And here I share them with you. See, our world is highly polluted, not like it was 100 years or 1,000 years ago. Our bodies and how our bodies were designed to function and what they need is really ancient. The bodies of our ancestors had a much cleaner environment. The air was less polluted. Maybe not at all polluted if you lived outside of a big city. So, at least in rural areas. And the rivers, the streams, and even the oceans were cleaner. We did not have something that I believe is so catastrophic for our brain. It's electromagnetic pollution. Yes. You know, it's all around us. It travels through us. We can't see it, but it moves through our bodies in ways of radiation and frequencies. So if you are 40 years old or older, and if you listen to my show, it says Radiant Life over 45, and it's for women. It is crucial that you start knowing where you are when it comes to your brain health. You can have a test done and see if you are prone to the Alzheimer's due to a specific gene in your DNA. And that gene comes from your parents. And that gene is called APOE4. APOE-E4. And more than 50% of Alzheimer's patients have that gene. And suppose you have just one of the genes, you are already at higher risk. But if you got two of those genes, one from each of your parents, your risk is about 12-fold. I know that's frightening. And I have sent out my gene test and I haven't gotten it back yet. I will see. So, but do you see, you must do this testing as soon as possible. And since my show is for women over 45, you are in danger even without this faulty gene. Like with almost everything, prevention is the best course of action. And the earlier you start, the more successful you will be. Do at least yearly full testing. That includes blood, urine, saliva, and any testing for inflammation. Your hormones need to be balanced, your glucose levels, and more. That you are not resistant, that you don't have diabetes. Diabetes, some call dementia and Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because sugar has played such a big role in skyrocketing this disease. It's not just sugar. It's so many other things. But sugar is the big culprit. And there are some tests you can do. There is also a test that is called, and I think it was called like this by Dr. Ress. I sometimes don't know how to pronounce his name. Hi, doctor, where did I write down this name? You know, I put it in the comments a little bit later. He came up with, we all know colonoscopies. We know that at age 40 or over, we should have our colon tested, right? The whole digestive system, especially our colon. So that's called colonoscopy. And excuse me. But what is known as the test for Alzheimer and dementia, it's called the cognoscopy. Cognoscopy. Does that make sense? Cognition, right? Cognoscopy. And there are tests you can do, and it only takes about 30 minutes. And I believe you can even do that at home. So this has been called like this by Dr. Bredesen. I should ask him how he pronounces his name. Bredesen or Bredesen? My apology if I not misspell, but mispronounce your name. So we don't have enough time to talk about prevention. That will be in the next episode. But I will give you an overview, because by categorizing our discussion into 3 sections, they are nutrition, what to avoid, what to eat, the blood tests, of course, and cognoscopy, and the importance of blood flow, of oxygen, your ketone levels, testing for toxicity. We will gain a deeper understanding of early prevention and potential reversal strategies. So next week, let's delve into the fascinating subjects of what we can do to reverse, to first of all prevent. Because if you have absolutely no symptoms, and you also don't have the gene, you may not need to have an MRI test of your brain. But if you want to be sure, maybe you should have an MRI test done of your brain to see how much the gray matter, the white matter, the hippocampus, because that's where the memory lies. If your brain, if there's any shrinkage in your brain, all of these are first signs that that your brain is under attack, and you could develop dementia and Alzheimer's on that path. So there are a number of things. You probably already guessed it, let go of sugar. But in today's nutrition and world, it's not just the pure sugar, even that has skyrocketed, but all of the sugary items that turn into sugar, the simple carbohydrates, the cereals, all of the grains, even gluten and dairy, all of that plays a role in promoting possibility of developing dementia and Alzheimer's. So, going almost back to what is the best diet, we will talk much more about this next week. But I tell you, the Mediterranean diet is still at the top. Nothing extreme, variety, a lot of color, a lot of variety in your nutrition. Fresh, organic, clean. Yes, I know it all costs a little more than the packaged stuff, but is your brain worth it? Of course it is. That's our main area that controls everything in your body, right? The mothership is right up here, right between your 2 ears, right up here. That's where everything happens and starts and is directed. Even your thoughts. And I believe that even your attitude and the thoughts that you have play a role, because we know already, and I talked many times about that, not in connection with dementia or Alzheimer, but how your thoughts, your state of mind, your happiness or the lack of it affects the chemistry in your body. Yes, so that is a part as well. But we will speak about all of that the next time. So I really appreciate you being here with me. I appreciate you more than you can imagine. And I see you again next week. Yes? Yes. Bye-bye for now.